And we're live, I think. Maybe. Possibly. Let me double check. Alright, cool. We are live. That's good to know. Okay, what else do I need to actually fix here real quick? There's an iPhone 6S. Yeah, iPhone 6S? iPhone 6S. Sweet. Okay, 6S. Cool. So, let's get this party started. Front-facing camera works. Proximity sensor works. Real quick, just delete that. Really, I'm just at that point where I'm testing stuff for the sake of, personal security. Power this guy down. It's a bit, just a bit, on the damage side, as you can clearly see. Coworkers leaving messes around. My. Oh god. Yeah, I'm not feeling amazing. Decided for whatever ungodly reason to eat something spicy. And I'm suffering for it. Oh god, am I suffering for it. And me. Yeah, no. Oh my god. Hold up. Okay, better. I don't know why. I suddenly become, like, infinitely more sick the moment I start doing streaming. It's like, oh yeah, you'll be feeling fine the entire day. Oh, you're streaming now? Time for you to feel incredibly sick. Got like a phlegmy throat, coughing problems. Is this a curse? It's probably a curse. Sacco, Michael, whatever you want to be called. I blame you for this horrible curse ever since you followed. Okay. So yeah, as per usual. I'm breaking this guy open. Ooh. Actually. That feels way less secured than normal. Maybe I'll just imagine it. Okay. Why is this one so much harder to open than normal? Okay. Oh, cracking open. Cold one. Okay. Battery connector first. Especially important with an iPhone 6S, where you can blow out the backlight circuit. And my god, that is not fun. Boop. Disconnect? Yes, thank you. Okay, and onto the screen connector. I need to find some good music to put in the background of these. Yeah, no stream yesterday because it was honestly kind of boring. Nothing much really happened. Had to deal with the joys of separating out a whole bunch of screens from iPads, which honestly is not that great to watch. I honestly didn't do an amazing job of it, just because I don't like working on them, and I haven't... Well, I don't like working on them, so I tend to try and avoid them. And because I tend to try and avoid them, it makes them harder for me to work on, which in turn makes me like working on them even less because I don't have the experience. It's one of those vicious cycle things that, real talk, I could probably very easily break out of, but just kinda don't. So, I don't know. At the very least, I'm capable of recognizing my problems. Addressing them like an adult. Frickin' people calling me. And I'm back. Yeah. Fun stuff about people asking if we can do battery replacements for them. It's like, yeah, sure we can. We're more than happy to do repairs for customers, but there's always a caveat of, yeah, if you're supplying the part, we can't warranty that out, and you can't be pissed at us too if the part doesn't work. Now, see, that's one where I definitely want to do a pre-repair test on it. Because then I get to have that fun moment of being like, cool, okay, let me quickly just test this stuff on camera before I actually start working on it. Oh, would you look at that, it doesn't work. Well, where did the screw come from? There is a random screw that is sitting here. Where did you come from, screw? Wait, there's two random screws here. What the hell? Where did these come from? I'm so confused. So I have two random screws here. They're both from the Taptic engine? What the fuck? What? Hold up. No, I need to show this. So I found that one that was sitting on top of here. And then I found another one further down. Whoa. Okay, everything just flickered for a second. Second here. Configure video. I just need to zoom in to show this. So, okay. Both the screws for the Taptic engine are missing. I'm just sitting here looking at these two screws. I'm like, where did these come from? It's also like, God, I need a way better camera. But there's like a bit of corrosion on here. what on earth happened inside this phone? It was like sealed too. So either no one's ever worked on this one before, or it's like a really high quality repair. But then I have to question, why on earth were the screws not in the Taptic engine? That's freaking weird. Okay, I guess I'll question that later. Got a rest of a repair to do. Okay. Well, real quick. Yeah, success. Always so neurotic about that. It's like, yeah, no, I've tested it multiple times already. I looked at it, made sure to grab the part, made sure to write it down on our ticketing system. But just to be sure. Okay, make sure this guy boots up. Ta-da! Leave that white bit on the corner. Let the repairs begin, Batman. Cool. Screen boots up. That was just me being weird and looking at the screen of my computer rather than the screen of the phone when trying to turn it off. Because that does so much work. Just, remove this bit because it does nothing other than makes repair tech's lives worse. Speaker. And the home buttons. So many little sounds here and there. Okay. I keep on seeing the lights flashing. They've been doing it all day, but it's just like done it twice now while I've been streaming, and it was like, I had an unfortunate call yesterday, and this is just reminding me as I'm going to disconnect that, of what the customer said. Basically, they were asking about, it's like, hey, I got my phone previously repaired. Can you guys repair, like, the proximity sensor and the home button? I'm like, oh, no. Oh, no. Basically, they had it repaired by someone who I'm almost 100% was an amateur or incredibly lazy. Because they're like, yeah, the proximity sensor doesn't work, and the home button doesn't work, and they even like swapped it out in front of me, and as like I hear him say that, I'm like, oh no, honey, no, that's no, that's really bad. Because like obviously the big problem that comes with that is just like if it was the original home button, I could at least tell you if they like damaged it or something, but if it's like for a fact it's not the original one and they swapped it out in front of you, that's really bad. That's really, really bad. Because that means I'm definitely not going to be able to do anything about it. Like, that's the thing that sucks about certain repair places, is that, like, that's sort of, like, their standards of quality is just like, oh, you want a screen replaced? Yeah, sure, we can do that for you. We'll replace a screen and everything else, even if it really shouldn't be replaced, instead of transferred over. It's like an iPhone 8 too, so it's like, ugh. It sucks because that's like a situation where I'm like, you're gonna have to go to Apple. Like, I can't do anything for you. like lazy repair shops that are like, or dishonest or so unskilled that something like that is a actually major concern. That you may get your device back, but a major portion of it may not work anymore. That sucks for like more reputable repair shops like us, because it's like that just reflects poorly on us though. Because if you were a good repair place, this wouldn't be a problem. But you're not, and because of that, it's kind of puts a lot of more legitimate repair shops in a really bad light. And I get that repair shops make mistakes, but like that's one of the ones where it's like, no, that's not a mistake you can make. Like that's one of those things where it's like, no, this is like super common knowledge that you can't just do that. And going even beyond that, like, ugh. It just bugs me so much when I hear stuff about that, where it's like, a repair shop does something like that, and they just basically, damage a phone to a degree where, like, the only thing that can be done is, like, bringing it to the original manufacturer. Or, let me make an addendum to that. If they do something like that, where it does wind up in this, fashion where it's like, the repair shop themselves can't do anything, like, they somehow damaged it in such a fashion that it winds up like that, that's one thing. But if they then go and say, like, hey, we messed up on this, we're going to give you, we're going to make it good in some fashion, then that's like major brownie points. Also, this is one of those situations where like the little bracket decided to stick to it. Just pop that guy off because I do not need that. As the news screen as one of those guys. The tournament may have been ever so slightly too rough on that, but I'll see. My boss is currently in like Vietnam or something, from what I've seen in our chat logs. Sometimes I'm afraid he'll just be sitting there watching this, judging me from across the globe. It's like, oh, you're doing that on that model of a phone? Dude, what the hell? Actually, where's that line up? That lines up with like the, lines up with like the battery. I wonder why that's scratched. I think it was scratched as soon as I opened it. But I'd have to check the recording of this afterwards. This is probably just going to be a short stream where I just do this repair and then end it. Might do another one later on. But I'm aiming for at least one stream a day while we're open. I didn't do one yesterday because I kind of knew what I was walking into and that it wouldn't be fun. And I also knew that the store would be much more cluttered than normal. One of those days, I guess. Sorry if my commentary is not exactly riveting today. Just kind of tired. This is a bit of a boring repair, to be honest. And I'm not feeling amazing, so... Why do I suddenly have the Pokemon theme center playing in my head? Pokemon Center theme playing in my head. Like I said, I'm a little bit off my game, let's say. Oh, but look at me, I'm a content creator. Who knows? Maybe my weird state of apathy I'm in today will suddenly make my repair go like 100 times smoother. Just the universe going, hey, you deserve a solid. Have it. Okay, let's put you back together. Ta-da! Okay. Watch and be amazed as it reboots off screen. Okay. Be with you in just a second here. Okay, back now. I got a little bit hectic. Yeah, I got a little bit hectic, let's say. Customer came back to check on their device. Other customer decided to drop off what they said was going to be an iPhone 7 battery replacement. Like, oh yeah, that'll be super quick. No, it's not an iPhone 7. It's a Samsung S7, which is way harder to do. Oh, I'm actually gonna need to refresh myself on how to do that repair. And just doing a quick test call. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Cool, cool. All right, oh, that works.
Amigo.
Be with you in just a moment.
Okay.
Okay. I'm back. Oh God. Customers. Ugh. Hey, I have this horribly bent iPhone. Oh yeah, yeah, so we can't fix that. How much is it to fix the screen? This much. But we're not going to work on it because your phone's like bent in half. Ugh. Man, it's almost like if a phone gets bent like that, there's not a whole lot that we can really do in order to get it to work properly. Just back and forth, like, how much is it to replace the screen? This much, but we're not going to work on the phone. How much is it to replace the screen? This much, but we're not going to work on the phone. Why won't you work on the phone? Because it's horribly bent. But I just need the screen replaced. Yeah, but the phone's horribly bent, and it's probably never going to sit right, never going to work again, and we're going to be horribly liable, because something horrible is going to happen. Where it's like, oh yeah, it's suddenly not going to work, and they're like, but just replace the screen. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna. Even better is when they are definitely not a first speaker, English first language person, and it just gets harder and harder to communicate, because I'm like your, super thick accent is making me hard to understand you, and I'm not entirely sure if you're understanding every word I'm saying. Stream's probably gonna end a bit after this guy, just cause I might keep it up and running. Nothing much is gonna happen because I'm pretty much gonna be looking back into how to do a Samsung S7 battery replacement, because it's been like a month or so since I last had to do the last one. I'd rather brush up than risk any more damage. Okay, put this guy back together. All bits of it tested out fine. Nope. I even see some gunk in the charging port of this guy I should take care of. Here it is. Actually, yeah, there's a bunch of gunk inside this thing's charging port. Ta-da! Okay. Hold up. Second viewer's still here? What is this madness? Oh, okay. I really need to make like a dealing with customers sign. Just to put up. Or have a scene switch on here. Yeah, scene switch would probably be good. Okay, basically taking care of the leftover part from before. Just gonna set that to the side. And that's a good LCD, so it can be recycled, which is awesome. Okay. Ooh. Okay, that shifted a lot of stuff that it wasn't meant to. Okay, real quick. Going to need to mute this while I look at the video for Samsung S7 rear glass removal. Okay, yeah, so the real annoying thing about this guy is basically its construction is something of a nightmare. In order for me to actually get in so I can properly do repairs on this guy, I have to heat up the entire back, and I know I have the tool somewhere around here. This is not the actual tool I'll be using, it's a bit of a different one, but then basically go around the entire thing, removing all the adhesive. My god, it is not fun. It is not fun whatsoever. So what I basically have to do right now is throw this into a food dehydrator to heat the entire thing up. Once that's done, I can get to work on it. Surprised I can pick it up that clearly. Let me move the... Okay, there we go. Yeah, so it can still, you know, reduce the sensitivity a bit, so it can still hear me, but yeah, it looks like it's not picking up the food dehydrator anymore. Okay. Okay, yeah. One of the interesting things about how I have my microphone set up here is, much the fact that it's hooked up in this really kind of weird manner. Actually, see if I can show this at all. So yeah, pretty much it's USB'd in to the rest of my computer. With that being in there, basically I have a application set up on both the phone and the computer that allows us to work. It's a lot higher quality than the headset I was previously using, which is great. Big downside is that this is a little bit of a wonky connection. I don't have as good mobility with it. I'm pretty much entirely stuck with it being a, static, I'm stuck sitting right here kind of microphone, rather than being able to get up, move around, and have a lot more freedom with it. The other big problem is, and this isn't as much of a big deal at this location, but for example, if I, move wrong, I've had it decide to take a tumble, because, spinning chair edge catches it and falls down, all that fun stuff. So this is actually the tool I'm going to be using to help me get this bad boy open. Set this off to the side. Basically just double checking a few other things here. Battery replacement Galaxy S7. It's always been. Move back. Yeah, because oh man. Yeah, no, this is a not super fun repair, just in the aspect of how this entire thing is designed. So, obviously I don't have it with me right now because it's basically being heated up, but this is a kind of obnoxious repair. So I'll sort of use my phone for an example here. Let's see if the microphone holds up. So, yeah, this thing is super beat up, and I know you probably want to say, but don't you work at a phone store? Can't you get this thing fixed? I'm like, yeah, I can. Do I really need to right now? No. I mean, it's functional. Ignore this gap up here. If I hold it in just the right light, it looks like it's totally not broken. I can totally fix this thing whenever I want. It's just that I don't really want to put the money towards it right now, even though I can get it for significantly cheaper than most other places. It just doesn't really matter for me, per se. But, basically the whole thing is that for this repair, a few things need to happen. One, I basically need to remove the back from this guy. And it's a little bit interesting because how it's traditionally seen is basically you move a cutting tool along here. The way we actually do it is we get it underneath and we move the device while holding the tool in place. It gives us a little bit more of a controlling cut. Sucks for your fingers though, because yeah, so that's what I was worried about. I knew that the screen goes off for long enough, the application stops working. But yeah, basically, like, the whole thing is that basically we move the device along here. It sucks because it'll sort of cut in my finger. Not physically cut in, but, pressure against it, sharp edge. Not a fun time. But, once I'm done doing that, I can remove the back from it. Have a few bits and pieces I need to remove and move out of the way. The real obnoxious thing, though, is the fact of removing the battery and its positioning. It is positioned pretty much right on top of the, potato chip level thinness LCD. So the main massive concern I have whenever I'm doing one of these repairs is I may wind up cracking the screen, and that sucks. Now, am I likely to do it? Not really, no. Is it possible for me to do it? Yes. And that's the big concern. Let me actually see. 7. Yep, cool. Okay, that shows up fine. Let me quickly check to see how that's doing. Kind of toasty. Gonna leave it in there for a little bit longer so that I can heat up a bit more. Feels pretty close to where I need it to be. This is also the part that the customer gave me to install on there. Yeah, this is unfortunate. They're like, I think I may have mentioned this earlier in the stream too. The customer's like, yeah, can you do a battery replacement? I'm like, yeah, sure, what is it? It's like, oh, it's an iPhone 7. Apparently the customer was thinking about their own phone when they said that. Oh, hey, a third viewer. Nice. Pleasure to meet you, third viewer, who I don't know who you are, because I don't know if I can even check that. Currently, we are basically waiting for a phone to come out of a heater so that I can open it. Galaxy S7 for a battery replacement. Super fun time. This is gonna suck a bit for me, because I think this is also maybe the first non-Apple device I've done on stream, which would be a little bit surprising. I think I've been streaming for, yeah, about 2 weeks at this point, and I haven't actually done one yet. So, guess we'll just have to see. Let me go grab it. Okay, hot. So, this bit's a little bit nerve-wracking. Oh. Now, do I have... Trying to get this done quickly, but also trying to not, like, burn my little fingies. Wedge this guy underneath the screen. Slowly slice away at the adhesive. Oof, okay. Well, that's not exactly what I wanted to feel. Trying to be as careful as possible here. Moving the device rather than the tool itself, because that gives me a lot more control over how this repair goes. Hurts my hand so badly though. Okay. So I'm actually going to quickly throw this back into the heating element. See if I can sort of show it here. But yeah, you can sort of see the bit of a bite into my finger there from this thing. Does not feel great. I'll say that much. Frickin' flashing light. Great. The joy of tippy tapping on my screen. Okay, I'll go and grab that again. Oof, yeah, nice and painfully hot. Just the way I like it. With me in pain. Yeah, I'm not super happy about that. Thankfully, customer uses the case, so I don't think they'll be super fussed about the back. Getting a bit of damage done to it. Oh my god, okay. This has sucked so badly for my hand. Oh. I was legitimately under the impression that this did not work, period. Huh. The more you know. Where on earth? Where are the guitar picks? Yeah, the major downside of working in a place where everybody has a different organizational method means it sucks trying to find certain things. It's like, cool, where is this? These are our like super old business cards, and I'm basically just using to help prop this guy open. Graphics are horribly outdated on him. They're also like each individually for one store only. Pete, if you're watching this. Yeah, I know, it's not looking amazing. Okay. I think I could be a little bit more, dig a little bit deeper into this, because if I remember correctly, this is one of the models. Yeah, this model doesn't have any like fingerprint sensors or anything. So if I need to, I can be a little bit more in-depth. For a lot of the newer models that have a similar design to this guy, it's way harder, and you need to be much more careful. Oh, or possibly not. Yeah, for a lot of the newer models, you need to be much more careful, purely because of how it's built up. What winds up happening is you have this major concern of slicing connecting ribbon cables, and if you do that, then you have a part that you need to replace. There we go. That's a bit of adhesive. Oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry, back glass. I didn't mean for it to go that poorly for you. I'm actually very intentionally just removing a lot of the remaining adhesive that's on the back of this thing, just because I'm going to need to lay some new adhesive down for finishing up the rest of the repair in a bit. Yeah, I'm always I'm perhaps a little bit overly cautious, might be a good way of describing it when working on the Basquiat phones, just because they are so fragile. Well, okay. Basquiat Android phones. Basquiat Apple phones are simultaneously better and worse. Better in terms of actual, ease of repair on them overall as phones, just because you don't actually need to deal with the back glass. Worse in that if it gets damaged and you do want to replace that, the nice cosmetic back glass, it sucks because it's like a full chassis swap unless you want to do a crazy amount of work extra. Like, so much more work. Okay, so this is the back of the S7. This part's gone. Phillips head screwdriver. Okay, so this is like, once you actually get that glass back off, This part's probably the best part, just because these are all the exact same length. That is the wrong screwdriver. These are all the exact same length Phillips head screws. Yep. Oh. So much easier to do this. I say as this one does not want to come out. Oh my god. Yeah, this bit's just so much nicer to do from a repair standpoint, because, like, as much as that sucked getting into the back of this device, once you're actually in, the repair becomes super simple. If you have a repair where you don't need to be concerned about the back glass whatsoever, like it's already, you know, super terribly shattered, and customer wants it replaced, this is probably one of the easiest repairs to do, even if you have very little experience. No, you still need to be very, very careful, but at the same time, you don't have to worry about certain aspects of repairing stuff. And I'd have to say the worst repair out there, to my knowledge, is any kind of housing or chassis swap for like an iPhone, just because there are so many super thin, super delicate, like connecting ribbon cables that are in there that are super liable to get damaged. They can cause a lot of problems if they get damaged. There's so many screws that go in different places, and it's a nightmare of a repair. Like, pretty much, weirdly, to a degree, the best way you can really describe of how much does a repair suck is with one of these pillboxes. So the whole purpose of these pillboxes is sort of lay screws out in an order in which we can very easily remember where they go, where to put them back, and have everything all neatly and organized. So for example, this one, like once you get past the glass back, it's actually pretty straightforward. All the screws are the same length. All of them go on the same layer. They are only one type of screw. So this is what I would refer to as a quote-unquote easier repair. Not a easy repair by any means, but easier in the grand scheme of things. However, with the example I was giving of, you know, full body chassis swap of like really any model iPhone, it's very much a repair where you might need like 2 pillboxes or 3 if you really want to make sure everything is very neatly separated out from each other. Well, okay. 3 might be a bit of an overkill situation, but at the very least 2. Okay, that should be, yeah, that should be all of them. And at this point, yeah, okay, so now for the jigsaw puzzle. Basically just removing these various bits and pieces of these sort of protective covers on here. Okay, that was just some adhesive that was stuck on. You shouldn't be catching on anything because there's no connectors underneath there, otherwise I'm going to be freaking out. There she is. The battery. You know, I'm going to keep that on. The reason I'm going to keep this bottom bit on is because it's actually going to protect quite a bit when I'm doing this. I'm also quickly going to throw this back into the dehydrator because I need to heat it up before I start trying to remove the battery, so I can put in the customer supplied one. Just going to move everything back onto screen, sort of ramshackle manner. But yeah, that's the vast majority of this honestly somewhat nightmarish repair done. Ugh, sucks that this guy got a little bit shaved. I could do something. Just text the customer, hey, do you want to clear back to your phone? God, just full-blown jerry-rig everything. Oh boy. Okay, move those guys off to the side. Probably won't be needing this guy because I already got everything I really need out of there. This guy I know for a fact I will leave though, and I will keep the guitar picks out. Okay. Yeah, so this bit's not going to be super fun. Just because from here on out, I'm basically dealing with that previously mentioned problem of the separation between the LCD and the battery. Okay, yeah, now that the dehydrator's up to actual heat, that is not fun to touch. It's just thinking, I don't need the pliers anymore, and then I see a sticker immediately that would be very much in my interests to remove. You know what, I am going to remove this guy. Not that it's entirely, you know, physically necessary for me to do so, but it does make my life a bit easier. As far as getting underneath here and moving this guy. So this bit sucks big time. Especially if I don't have... Okay, I'm gonna let that heat up again for a bit longer this time. More power flickers. I'm gonna see if I can find a better guitar pick that I can sort of use as a bit more of a decent leveraged opening tool. Annoyingly, all the ones I'm finding are either like weirdly misshaped, like they're either shaped like this guy is, where the top is bulbous, which doesn't really help me, or they are very, very thin and flexible. Like there's these ones by iFixit, but I don't know if I have any left around here. might use the back end of a razor blade. So not the sharp edge, but this edge. Which I would be holding like this, which does concern me a little bit from a safety standpoint, but might give me the level of leverage I really want and need from this. At the same time, though, my main concern is potentially damaging the LCD, so... I do have this guy, which is a fair bit more rigid. I'm hoping this will be a good enough quality for me to be able to get that back off. The major thing to note with all this is that, like, yes, I could very easily brute force it out. I'm just trying to do this in such a manner that I'm not damaging anything. That's like my major concern with going through this entire process is like, you know, not breaking anything. There we go. Just took a little bit more effort. And voila. Freshly removed. That was not fun. This is super hot. Okay, now this one doesn't really seem to want to connect. We'll quickly remove it out of the assembly. And put it back in. Be with you in just a moment.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, back. So covering this up, because don't want to have it show here, but you know, battery has been installed, device power is on. Showing you the back real quick. Yeah, just had a very interesting question with a customer where they're like, hey, could you do this slightly unusual-ish repair? Where it was basically take, you know, two phones of the same model, one has a broken screen, one has a good screen, take the good screen, put it on the broken one. That's always a fun one to get a question for, because it's like, I mean, I could. Give me a second to figure out what to actually charge for you, because that's like, sure, I'm not charging you for any extra, like, parts on it, but at the same time, that's like way more labor. It's like cool. I'm basically looking at like 1.5 times the labor of a normal screen replacement, because I'm basically having to remove 2 screens, but I'm only installing 1. So let's move this back in this view. The real fun bit about this phone is basically the jigsaw game you get to play afterwards, where you're popping everything back into place. And of course, it would not be a repair if some of the parts didn't want to snap back into place properly. Alright, cool. Now, I think it's how many screws are here? I think it's like 12 different screws that I need to put back into place now. Oh, super fun. That being said, this is way easier to do than removing them. Quickly just spreading them out like that so that I don't wind up magnetizing a bunch of them all in one go. These are all the exact same length, so I don't need to worry about that. No! Drop my screwdriver. Really don't that. Got a little bit satisfying click of backing it out. Yeah, I hope I got that on audio. Okay, cool. So, ooh. Thought I'd turned you off. Power off. So glad that this went. This is such a nice repair. I mean, ignoring that entire bit where I struggled at the start as well as with the battery, but that's beside the point. So yeah. Yeah, that sucks that I wound up damaging that a little bit more than I would have liked. But unfortunately, this is a little bit of the territory that comes with doing this repair, is the fact that it is just one where you're not really going to have a good chance, especially as a little bit more of an experienced repair tech, of getting a lot of the paint on the back of this thing to stay on. It's because you're basically using a sharp metal tool, and it's hard to really get under there. It's not as easy as, you know, say an iPhone screen replacement, where you can pretty much just slide the tool in once, undo a bunch of screws, and call it good. It's a matter of you're basically sitting there, you know, very carefully wedging this metal tool between the frame and the back of this device itself, and basically hoping that you don't wind up shattering the glass completely. It's like that's the worst possible outcome you have, is that you break the glass. Okay, well, not the worst. One of the worst. It's definitely high up there, because if you break the glass, then that needs to get replaced as well. Worst possible outcome is complete destruction of the phone. But that's like always the worst outcome. And honestly, a little bit on the hard side to do for this repair, because I had to remove the battery. There's a decent chance that, obviously back when I was, you know, prying it out of its case, or rather its seating, that I may have wound up breaking the LCD, which really would have sucked. But like that's, you know, that's like the most likely thing, is either breaking this back glass or breaking the LCD when you're using the battery. Outside of that, there's not a whole lot of other really high, you know, points of failure that one should really be worried about. Bunch of little bits and pieces here and there to keep an eye on, but nothing that's really like catastrophic failure levels. Okay, that's pretty much all of the adhesive removed. I think there's a few more bits and pieces here and there, but not really worth the time to do. Okay. Now I'm basically going through, just setting down some new adhesive. One thing to note, that when you're setting in new adhesive on this device, is be careful near the edges. I'll see if I can sort of show this in a moment. It's sort of, let's see if I can show it. You gonna focus? Maybe? But yeah, like right down here, there's this little bit of a groove. And that's the big thing you want to be careful of when you're doing this repair, is with this groove, because that's basically part of where the screen will sit in. Sort of as you can see on this side, I haven't put the new adhesive right up against the groove. I've left a bit of a gap, because this is basically double-sided adhesive with a cover on top of it. By leaving that little bit of a gap, it basically means cool. This should adhere down and should also sit neatly into the corner. Okay. Not quite where I wanted that to sit. Joining me about now, for whatever reason, kind of missed the best part of this little repair. Battery's already in there. Sort of see it's a bit of a weird green sitting on the back of there. Can't for whatever reason find my scissors, so have to resort to using a razor blade. You too can be resourceful when trying to do a screen repair. Now, this isn't really a screen repair, this is a battery replacement, but... C'est la vie. It's the return of the tweezers. Remember to follow for more high-quality videos. Just super, ultra, crazy high quality. The best videos. Okay. And that's the back on. Well, suppose, for all intents and purposes, that is one completed repair. Yep. Sits nicely in the case. No idea it's even ever been opened. That was a bit nerve-wracking, but hey, getting more practice in is always good. That's going to be all for today. Probably going to end the stream here. Hope everyone has a good night.